We spoke a little bit about agentic, and let's get into the agentic AI in action. That the subject around it, that is, and there's so much that's happening in the entire ecosystem about agentic AI in action. Of course, now let's talk about agentic, which gives us insights about going beyond automation. So AI is evolving, Rohit, and automation is table stakes now. What's next?
What's next for AI? What's next?
Yeah. What do we mean beyond automation? There was transformation. Now it's beyond automation. So, where do you see everything heading? What is it like? Agentic AI is in action now. So, what does it do beyond automation? Where does it take us?
So the next frontier of AI or any technology, frankly, beyond automation, then drives towards the business value, mm-hmm. right? Connecting the dots between these initiatives with real business metrics and operating performance that impact loss ratios and expense ratios and combined ratios. So as we look ahead, the more sophisticated carriers will ultimately be able to draw that straight line from all of these initiatives to these operating metrics, and through that also get alignment across the organization and work towards the unified strategy and a unified ecosystem. The points that we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you predicting anything? You usually do these trend reports or anything. So anything that you are predicting? 2026 and beyond?
We are predicting that AI-driven automation, AI-driven operational efficiencies will directly contribute to a reduction in expense ratios. Mm-hmm. I think there is a lot to derive out of technologies and the investments that we see carriers make today, which in 2026 will lead to some very meaningful operational efficiency gain, which will translate into lower loss ratios, lower LAEs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Anurag, one of our viewers is asking that, you've been working with carriers hands-on, and this is on agentic AI in action, that is. So how is this playing out in practice? You're so close to the ground.
Yeah, in fact, maybe what I see with my working with the insurance carriers are already in line with what Rohit talked about prediction, operational efficiency and reducing those losses and everything. So one of the carrier, if I have to take an example, one of the carrier used Newgen to deploy agentic AI for assessing and doing pre-assessment of the accident claims. So what this agentic AI is doing is it is taking all the information, whether it is in the form of, like I talked about those videos, or let's say if it is a picture of damage, police reports, surveyor reports, all of these are input to how you review a claim and adjudicate a claim and settle a claim. If somehow an agentic AI can take all of these, make a meaningful outcome out of this. For example, how severe is the accident? Analyze the video, give a recommendation that here is the 10 second and here is the severity. Look at the damage picture. If it is a fender bender, can this agentic AI kind of try to find out what are the parts which probably have to be replaced? What are the typical cost of those parts? Depending on, let's say, if it's a Honda Accord of, let's say, 2022 model, black. Here are the parts. And here is the estimated labor of this. So even before you reach out to your body shop, get a repair estimate, you already know what you should be looking for. And if that is in line, then you don't need any adjudicator or any manager to look into those and approve or deny it. So those are the things which are going to help in reducing your cost of operation, increasing your productivity and all of those things. And then if let's say, if I take another example of a large commercial line insurer, what one of the Agentic AI that we deployed there is assisting the underwriters evaluating the commercial fleets and factory policies, looking at OSHA compliance and guidelines for safety and health-related aspects. And it also helps in annual renewals, less surprises, more predictability. Customer is happy, yes, the kind of policy the customer bought is getting renewed, and it is in line. And then in another example also, we are working with this large specialty insurer, which is kind of global. We are working with them here in North America, in Europe, and also in ANZ, Australia, and everywhere. So there, they are using this Agentic AI to analyze. So for example, let's say if it's a vessel which is getting insured, which is sailing across multiple jurisdictions. Let's say it starts from Miami and it goes all the way to Caribbean, and in the process it covers 4 or 5 international jurisdictions. The kind of goods it carries, what are the different jurisdictions compliances and those things which are required to be held, whether it is going through high risk waters. Can those be real time be given? Can those inputs be given to the underwriters real time so that appropriate pricing can be done, appropriate risk analysis can be done? So these are the things which are helping, which are being, again, all of these Agentic AIs are part of the orchestration that we are deploying for the overall process, whether it is policy issuance, underwriting, or servicing. It is part of that process where these Agentic AIs give those intelligent like prompts, guidance, and those things to the knowledge workers and help them do their job much faster, much quicker, effortlessly.
Well, while having this conversation, both of you mentioned about the compliance aspect quite a few times. I heard the word governance. So do you want to touch upon this topic once, the entire the AI governance layer, and which is an important element we have to deal with when we're talking about AI. So your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So the good news is that the regulatory environment and the folks that are within the regulators are very open to working with the industry, and so that's a really strong starting point. They want, ultimately regulators want the entire insurance ecosystem to be successful. They want to protect the insureds, and they also want to make sure that there are there are protection solutions available through the carriers to them. I think it's up to the carriers to educate the regulators. It's up to the carriers to sort of create this level of transparency and work in collaboration with the regulatory environment. So that's one point. Regulators are looking for models that are explainable. They are looking for some sort of transparency in terms of auditability for decision making, and they're looking to see. Particularly in sort of high impact AI decision making, or frankly any models decision making, the human in the loop, right? They're looking to see enough oversight into the mix. I will also say that oftentimes AI projects. Or anything that has to do with some level of sophistication when it comes to any kind of modeling sometimes is met with resistance because there is a lack of understanding around regulation and compliance and policies. And I think all of this is a function of where the industry is with newer technologies. And so carriers need to make the investments to create that level of education and awareness, and create those policies and those compliance layers internally as well. So to summarize all of that, one, work collaboratively with regulators. Number two, be very clear and make the investments internally, so the organization is very clear on what the policies really are, so that it's all of this is to mitigate this construct of carriers not taking certain risks or not embarking on certain projects because they don't understand what the policy is or what the regulations are, both internally and externally.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Anurag, at Newgen, governance is definitely not an afterthought, right? I'm pretty sure it's baked into the platform. Can you throw some light on this? How do we take care of this entire governance aspect?
Yeah, of course. See, this regulation and the compliances around AI is still evolving. And different geographies and different governments and different associations are trying to come up with certain things. Recently, I saw this news that European Union already came out with one of the strong legislation or compliance or regulation kind of thing. And here in US, the administration is also coming out with multiple initiatives around AI, how to govern and how to regulate. So we at Newgen address it in 3 ways, taking all of those things together. The first and foremost is the end-to-end audit trail. When you are using AI, what are you giving as an input? Because whatever you are giving as an input, whether it's a question, it's a content, it's a data, all of those are for the insurance carriers, their asset. The most concerned part of the AI is your corpus, your data. How are you using? So they want to know what is going into AI, whether it is a traditional on-prem or contained AI, or it's a public large language model, generative AI, irrespective of what is going in. And then what is coming out. So when you give that input, what output you came back with, how many, if there are 10 iterations, are we auditing each and every iteration? Not to say that this is going to result into huge data set. So we don't expect all of those to be reviewed by someone, but the fact that each minute detail is being audited will help you resolve or not resolve, will help you meet these regulations, meet these compliances when the time comes. So that's number one. Number two is Rohit talked about explainable model. So when you are utilizing these models, Newgen system is able to translate that AI output into an explanation for the users, for the underwriters, for example, readable summaries, input to certain rules that, okay, this is how you can use into, let's say, predictive model for underwriters. So how do you explain those models in a layman term? It shouldn't be you shouldn't be requiring a data scientist to decipher how to explain that model. So that is second thing that we are doing with the Newgen platform. And the third is around the privacy and the policy controls. What data can be or should be masked, prevented from going out, and what are those controls? Who can see what? So those are the 3 ways that we are seeing. And I talked about this carrier from North America all the way to the Europe. This carrier surprisingly recently passed one of such regulation audit with 0 red flags. They themselves were surprised that in their audit, which really encompassed a wide area of artifacts covering agentic AIs that they are using in multiple processes. And there were no 0 red flags identified. So that was we also were pleasantly surprised that yes, we were able to deliver that for our customer.
Interesting. So you mentioned end-to-end audit trails. I hope I'm getting my notes right. And then you also spoke about explainable model outputs. And you did speak about the built-in privacy and policy controls. Well, okay. Well, a few minutes back, we were talking about POCs, pilots, MVPs. You introduced an interesting term, something MLP, whatever. Right? That is okay. Now let's talk a little about from pilots to platforms. Because I'm pretty sure there are many CXOs around here who are probably doing several pilots, and the entire. I'm pretty sure to organize all of it and to get started or kick it off into production phase is a daunting task. So, what would you advise? I'm pretty sure you get these questions.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time advising our clients on strategy and an AI, particularly as we are coming off this hype cycle for AI. So look, the advice is actually quite simple. It's focused on first principles, which is, don't go looking for a problem to solve with AI, right? Go after a problem that is impactful, it's measurable, and use AI as one of the inputs, one of the capabilities in your arsenal to solve for that. And shift the focus to the problem itself, right? Focus on the journey, focus on the customer journey if it's a customer oriented part of the value chain. Focus on the persona that is sort of critical to that particular journey within that value chain. Dig really deep, figure out, right, all the nuances to the nth degree to then identify what parts of that journey, what parts of that process can be automated, should be automated. And don't do that in isolation. Do that with certain key considerations. Number one, be clear on the outcomes you're looking to accomplish. Be clear on the objectives. Connect those to business metrics, operating metrics. Number two, identify the data assets required in order to solve for that. Be very clear in terms of the gaps that you might find in the data ecosystem. Go after it. Create that unified fabric of, create that unified data infrastructure to then be able to effectively solve for the problem. And number three is get alignment within your organization. Don't do it in isolation. Bring the organization together across the business stakeholders, across the IT stakeholders, across senior management. Make sure that there is full alignment. And I think these three key components are critical to the success. And so that's the advice that we are giving to our C-suite clients when they come and ask us about these topics.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Anurag, how do you advise, or what do you advise rather, the insurers you work with? How do you advise them to take this leap from pilots to production?
So we have got this playbook to accelerate this whole thing. Most of the stuffs will be like Rohit said, will be part of this playbook. But there are few key components of this playbook which kind of helps the insurers accelerate the whole thing, going from POC to pilot to enterprise-wide and scale it, connect downstream, upstream, those all dots that we referred earlier. The first thing is assessing the AI maturity within the organization, whether they have done already certain POCs in different areas, like Rohit talked about. Don't start with AI to find a problem, start with a problem to use AI. So if there are, let's say, 2 or 3 problems on which they have done certain AI experiments, what is the maturity of that? What is the output of that? And whether that can be used in an orchestration, in a journey and those things. So that's number one. Number two is we have got these, what we call accelerators. We have these pre-built accelerators for different functions, whether it's underwriting or claim or policy issuance or policy binding at the end of the policy issuance process. These accelerators have got the framework to integrate with the underlying policy admin system, underlying claim system, underlying underwriting system. All of these, we talked about that carriers have these multiple systems. Typically, I have seen any carrier with a sizable direct written premium 7 to 15 different applications that they use. So these accelerators, when they are integrated with the core systems or the underlying business applications, not only help accelerate the deployment of the agentic AIs in an orchestration, but it also connects, because these accelerators are part of our orchestration journey. So it also connects multiple functions. So that's number 2. And number 3 is, of course, cloud native, open AI, low code, no code. What that does is it allows the insurers to do the experimentation, quickly make amends, quickly make adjustments if something is not giving entirely what they were looking for. Instead of waiting for another months, can it be done in days and again see the output? So the low-code platform with these cloud-native and open APIs, which connects all of these underlying applications, the accelerators and everything, that helps in doing all of these things quickly, the experimentation and achieve. In fact, one of the insurance carriers, I saw that their claim approval, they started seeing the output within first 8 to 12 weeks of deploying this thing within a claims department, the accelerator and the agentic AI in a orchestration layer. Within about 8 to 12 weeks, they were able to see the tangible output, not just subjective. It was tangible output that they got it.
Awesome. Okay, so I think it's time for us to wrap up today's session, that is. But before we wrap up, 30 seconds, what do you want our audience to walk out with? Your thoughts?
I'll repeat what I said earlier, right? Don't use AI. Don't go looking for a problem to solve with AI. Spend the energy to get intelligent about what AI can do, cannot do within the context of your organization. Focus on this construct of a unified strategy, sort of a unified fabric. And don't forget data. Data is such a critical piece, critical ingredient, which is the fuel in order to be successful with anything AI.